You are live and direct with your son Cypher, radiating from ground zero of the kangaroo apocalypse. This is Block City on the Block Live Network. This is what we doing, trying to bring you something new and fresh, but also something you can relate to. Shout out to all my crypto maniacs out there. Block City and Block Live, Alpha Airdrop, Crypto and Down, the Minister of Information, Crypto Nate. We're trying to bring y'all something that you don't really get on the streets, but it's out there and you need to hear that. When I say the streets, I'm talking about these crypto streets. All right? We on the block. We on the blockchain. Yeah. So we're going to get into it today. I want to talk about a subject that's kind of bubbling in the crypto community. And I guess, this is not the first time that this particular subject has arisen within the ranks of the Hexagon community, and now the post-Akin community, and involved with the Richard Hart ecosystem. As anybody who's in the community knows, Richard Hart went to America to check on his ill mother, who had some issues, which seemed to be at least sustained at the moment in time, and she appears to be doing better. Give thanks for that, first of all. That's most important before we get into the nonsense. No doubt, this is, no matter what side of the coin or the aisle you may land on this particular subject that we're going to discuss, is nonsense compared to the health and wealth, emotionally and spiritually, of humanity, and specifically Richard Hart's mom, my mom, your mother, grandmother, father, cousin, sister, brother, everybody. Because we realize that this world that we live in is fucked. Like, this paradigm that we partake in, some willingly, some not so much, is polluted from the core, is rotten. So, the health system, the way we interface with this system of reality, is poison. Everything that they give us is poison. And by the way, fuck you, YouTube. I haven't forgot. Shout out to you assholes for being and really trying to thought police when it comes to free speech. And Facebook, well, but I don't even fuck with Facebook for like long before they came, Nazis and shit. Openly Nazi. I've been stopped fucking with Facebook. But shout out to all of these gatekeeping social media platforms that thinking that they can keep down the truth. Excuse me. Thinking that they can just shit on the truth, and thinking that people like me and my kind won't raise up beyond your digital motherfucking prisons, your high-tech electronic plantations. We ain't playing that. So as we eagerly await the launch of Post-Chain, there's been a lot of let's say, like, all in all fucking battle calls, amongst Hexagons, old, new, and in between, since over a year ago that the first sacrifice was made for Post-Chain. There's been a lot of new faces and how would you say, influencers that have fallen upon the scene. It's been a lot of new people who have just come in to get with this experience of investing in something that's going to be, not only, from my humble opinion, the greatest cryptocurrency within the next 5 years, not just because of its market cap, but what it does for liberation, self-sovereignty, and freedom. Mark my words So you know, a lot of new people coming into the fray. Um, as anything, once a seed grows or once a baby grows or whatever, and they begin to interface with the real world, they begin to change. And I think that's what's happening with the Hex community. Um, so I want to talk about a guy, Richard Hart. And by the way, this is episode 2 of Block City. If you haven't checked out episode 1, definitely go peep that. That was me and the kid and Crypto Nate. We talk about a lot of Hex post chain, you know, community, like family related business and stuff like that in that particular episode. And also go to check out me and Cosmic Kid. We've been done. How can I say? We've been putting it down as far as like this new wave of energy that we're trying to bring inside the community with Alpha airdrops. That's my man. Yeah, he's gonna go follow that one. Check him out, Cosmic Kid, the Prodigy. So, um, the title of this joint is called "Is Richard Hart Code Switching When He Speaks to Black Men?" That's what I'm calling this one. Is Richard Hart code switching when he speaks to black men? Now, if you haven't noticed as well, you know, our guy has been on like a media parade since he landed in Florida, specifically South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Miami. You know, I'm a half a world away, literally, and over, you know, a half a day ahead of everything that goes on in the North. So a lot of times I don't get to catch all of this in real time, whatever. So these fresh and fit crew that are out of Miami that are, you know, I'm just, you know, guys actually like even before this Richard interview, they had come across my purview within the same week, which I think is interesting. But Richard Hart did 2 segments with them. The first one was with Funding Jim and Dollar Cost Crypto. And you know, that one was pretty standard, you know, even though, you know, Richard Hart, you know, he was in rare form and stuff as well. You know, maybe it was being back. A lot of this is being discussed. This is what I think interesting. A lot of what I'm about to talk about is being discussed, you know, online and chat rooms. And specifically, I just finished checking out a Big Pep, a Bedrock Crypto. That's my guy. He's my favorite, you know, Conrad Zen. I'm sorry, bro, but I got to X you from my list, son, until we get some receipts from you based on this little token that you clearly either didn't do your research on and you're not really the backer of this shit, or you just decided that, you know, yeah, you fucking scam some hexicans and posicans or whatever the fuck. But anyway, kind of like blanketly, you know, throw accusations or whatever. But I'm just actually shocked and kind of hurt that Conrad Zen would be wrapped up in such shenanigans. But I digress. Talking about the OG Big Pep, you know, I really love Big Pep. You know, a lot of cats that are more analytical is gonna give you like, you know, more than meats and potatoes and shit like that when it comes to things that, you know, maybe you want to hear with regarding things that you've invested in. But it's just I really fuck with Big Pep more because of his nature and his perspective. I've said this before, you know, on Wax as well. This is not the first time, but more so because of his perspective and his nature kind of rolled up into one. You know what I'm saying? Like he has a lot of traits that I don't necessarily are not. Well, how should I say? They're not necessarily like prominent, like in my makeup. You know what I'm saying? So I can appreciate and like someone who actually, you know, has like a different that is well, you know, thought. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's, you know, maybe based on like how he likes to move or whatever. It's just really good to hear a different perspective, and he's always honest and always just like matter of fact and shit. Again, another thing that I can actually appreciate. I don't really like motherfuckers who have to emphasize and all this shit like that. Hold on one second. That real life shit for rain, even though it's Sunday, that was business. So I had to do. So what was I saying? Big Pep, that's my guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like his psychology. I like his approach to investing and like the whole psychology behind what it takes to really get to a preferred spot as far as investing. I fuck with Big Pep on a lot of reasons. Socially, like a lot, the things he says. Again, I'm not saying I agree or disagree or whatever because that's irrelevant. I'm saying a lot of people are not saying the things that this guy is saying consistently. So, what I've noticed, and this is not the first time, this is kind of like a rolling thing because people know and kind of, yeah, I guess they assume and kind of know a bit because of how Pep presents himself that he probably has a certain view socially, politically, or whatever. Like I said, he doesn't hold his and he's not a fan of like how Richard Hart presenting himself specifically on this Fresh and Fit podcast. Specifically in the second episode when they got like a gaggle of girls in there, and they're asking them all of these like mostly trivial questions about dating and what you prefer in a man, if a man is the like the women and men are equal and all this shit like that. Real like, as far as I'm concerned, low level fucking low functional like type of like frequency shit. Personally, you know what I'm saying? So Richard Hart displayed a side of himself that Hexicans are not used to seeing. And the first time that I saw this, whenever interviewed by the Gentleman of Crypto, this, and again, one of the boys, Zay, Bitcoin Zay, I think he's from Miami, or he definitely spends time there for sure. But I think he's from Miami. So like people were kind of like taken aback because Richard started, from their perspective, start speaking ghetto and talking slang term and all this stuff like that or whatever, and people were taken aback by that. um to me that was interesting. It was interesting on a couple of levels, just like the same type of dialogue I'm hearing is kind of like interesting on the same level. What I'm saying is that when I heard um Richard on Gentleman of Crypto, I thought that was the best interview that I had seen from Richard Hart and anyone else that wasn't a Mexican up until that point. And the reason why is because for whatever reason, mostly like shout out to King Bless and them boys over at Gentleman of Crypto, they doing their thing for sure. But it was mostly King Bless because I think Zay ended up having to go or he got cut off or something. But Bless, like how he was dialoguing with him and interfacing with him, it was very organic and shit. And even though he challenged him on this or that or whatever, he allowed him to get his shit off. I'm saying King Bless allowed Richard Hart to get his shit off, whatever. You know, and I just think Richard Hart felt more comfortable with these two black men, you know what I'm saying, than he would say like a Tone Vase or someone like that or whatever the fuck. Because for one, there's a connection there because this man comes from Miami. mean, I'm gonna get into this because there's a lot of talk. I want you guys to go back and listen to Big Pep's he did. I think it was on Tuesday. It was like something about a whiskey stream or some shit like that or whatever. It's really good. It's a good fucking stream. Shout out to Pep, yo. That's my guy. He definitely is underrated in the community. I think that's by design though. Like that's why I fucks with him because he's kind of like the ether. He puts out like this very potent pills and shit that most Mexicans may or may not see because he's not like a mainstream Mexican as far as like the streaming numbers and shit like that or whatever. But I would definitely recommend everybody go check out Big Pep. But there was like I want you to go check out this because it's like a case study in like the kind of the demographic and the psychology of some of the demographic within the hex community, right? But let me go back to the gentleman of crypto. So this is the first time that I heard Richard Hart kind of, speak ghetto or speak in slang. You can kind of hear it, like whenever he's like doing his braggadocious shit, like prior to that or whatever. But it really came out whenever he's Black Men, and I kind of just rolled it off, whatever, because he is from South Florida, right? So if Bitcoin Zay also is from South Florida, there is a familiarity there, within like culturally, how they would have grown up like that. And truth be told, like I'll put this out as well, because this is very relevant. Before moving out of the country, I spent 8% of my adult life in fucking Florida. Right? And like this to me, moving out of the country, I lived in South Florida. And I would, I was all up and down the beach from like Sunny Isle to South Beach. I lived in Opelika, you know what I'm saying, Carol City, so like I know Miami like more than most people who probably have this dialogue and shit. Like, either if you're making an excuse for Richard Hart or if you're blasting Richard Hart from whatever perspective you're taking. This is what I really want to talk about. So I just think with him switching code or whatever he's doing, the gentleman of crypto, I think that was a very excellent interview for Bitcoin OGs, Bitcoin maxis, or anybody who was unfamiliar with Richard Hart. I think that was a very pivotal video and a very pivotal interview that those dudes did. And no disrespect to Hexicans or like any, but I've seen all of the Hexican streams. And maybe it's because again, like everybody's already in the club and shit, but there was a different information, a different frequency, with this particular interview with these guys outside of our community. So I'll say that. Now, since he's over to Florida, he did the with like the SOS cast or whatever it's called, like with the guy and like the little cute girl. Before he did like, I don't know if it was before or after, but I saw that one first anyway. And even on that one, like I noticed that he was like give like that whole slang term, like like quote unquote code switching, like vibe again and shit like that or whatever. So I'm like, oh, okay. So again, like I'm thinking, because everything's about psychology with me, So in my head, I'm like, well, again, the dude is from like this is where this motherfucker is from. So like I don't really know if like he's really code switching or if he's just like feeling that familiarity. You know what I'm saying? And that's what like he was fucking rolling with, because I'm over here in a foreign land, and I know for a fact whenever I talk to anybody back home, it's like complete, like if I have some of my boys, because I got a studio over here, whatever. So frequently I have my boys in the lab, and like somebody from home will reach out and shit. And as soon as we start, like I get right back into that zone of speaking like lingo and terminology and shit that like these motherfuckers over here never heard me speak before. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really trying to be fair as I assess this shit, right? So that's like, the shout out to Black Crypto. You know what I'm saying? I got a whole package. I'm gonna send it to you after this joint. I got a whole package of beats, about 6 beats and shit that I've compiled and shit that yeah, I want you to have a look at and stuff. But shout out to Black Crypto and the wifey. I got it right this time. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been fucking that shit up last time I was on stream. But that, like, if you guys haven't checked out Black Crypto, as I said last time I was on stream, my brother is one of the coldest, if not coldest, MC spitting that hex fucking love and post Shane and Richard Hart love, yo. Like dope shit. Midwest love all day, right? But so look, I'm looking at it like this. I'm like, okay, I know like how I am, and plus I'm a Libra, and Richard Hart is a Libra as well. You know what I'm saying? So I'm all of this shit astrologically, the whole shit. I'm checking it, right? So I'm like, yo, boom, I'm over here like in a foreign land. It's not like I'm trying to be like a lot of motherfuckers who see that come over to different lands and they try to like embody like the culture kind of like superficially and shit like that by trying to talk like my shit. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anything is opposite, motherfuckers tend to be that way around me because they have a certain image, right? But again, I'm using Big Pep's clip as like the model because I think it's such an important learning device to get like different perspectives of all of these fucking different kind of chambers of the community and shit like that. I would just say this: if you got a problem with Richard Hart and you're saying that he's switching code because if you go back and listen to some of the comments, he was quote unquote being ghetto and lowering his, whatever the fuck from Pep, because that's not the energy that Pep want to make that clear. But also, I want to also make clear that because people think that Pep tends to lean a certain way politically, I think they feel that is a safe zone for them to kind of speaking in code their language, you know what I'm saying, in order to kind of shield their like true feelings or intent or whatever. I really want to make that clear. But some of the comments I heard and I saw and I with my own eyes and shit, yo, I'm just saying it's like y'all motherfuckers Mexican by day, but I mean I won't be surprised if you got on a motherfucker Monday that shit. I'm just gonna say, regardless of however you feel, this is why I fuck with Pat, because he's so articulate and he's so honest about like his perspective and shit like that. And he wasn't shitting on Richard Hart because he was like, he thought he was being too black and shit. Like he was saying like, yo, why are you not always like that? He's saying like, this is who you are, the motherfucker, just be that shit. Don't fucking be over here. You know what I'm saying? I'm like the big mental brain, whatever the fuck. And then over here, you like ghetto fabulous or whatever the fuck. He didn't even say those terms or whatever, but this is, again, I'm paraphrasing. And this is when we really got to get deeper into that conversation. Here's my thing. This is how I feel. If Richard Hart is simply, if Richard Hart, when he's with his boys and shit, because I've heard Richard Hart say nigga on a couple. I think it may have slipped out once or twice on part 2 of boys, whatever the fuck, Fast and Furious, whatever the name is. No disrespect, but I'm just simply saying, Richard Hart in his personal life, amongst his boys and shit. If he's like, yo, my nigga, what's up with this shit, blah, blah, whatever the fuck, da. Like, if this is how he is normally, like, in his regular life, like, on an everyday basis, then I have no fucking problem with that. I really don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really, really don't have any problem with that. Because this is where the dude comes from. And like I said, only thing that I will qualify my statement, because I have spent time in Miami. It's like my second home and shit. I will qualify the statement by saying, I said I've been in fucking Hollywood. I live in Hollywood, which is in Broward County. I've lived all up and down the beach, from Sunny Isles all the way down the motherfucker to Mid Beach, to North Beach, to South Beach. You know what I'm saying? I lived on the west, Carroll City, Haiti. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know fucking Miami. I've been, Like I live and breathe that shit. And I can never in my life a nigga from any hood talking like how Richard Hart was talking. I will say that. You know what I'm saying? But that didn't mean anything because people were like, oh well, maybe he was just like, represent like, where he came from, whatever he Florida. And I heard like, different like suburbs like chiming in and shit like that. I'm like, yeah, okay, but I know like these niggas in these hoods, you know what I'm saying? This is who I was rocking with and shit. And I ain't never heard that. So we cannot say that he's mimicking some shit that he would have heard on the streets of Miami in any of these neighborhoods because Miami is way different than anywhere in America because literally English is like a second or third language, depending on what fucking street and avenue that you on that intersect. Like that's real talk. The rest. So again, like I just want to make that particular clarification, right? Like, so if that's going on, then yo, my point is, I really feel like more people had a problem with the fact that and I even heard this, and another thing I'll say, if Richard Hart was doing this because he felt like this is the energy that he needed to in himself and in the presence of black, I would say that that's a serious fucking problem. I really, really would say that that's a serious problem if that is the case. This is what the community is saying. This is what a lot of people are saying. I don't know. There's no way for me to ever answer that question unless I actually sit down and break bread with the man himself. You know what I'm saying? But like, if that is the case, then again, I will have a problem with that one thing as well because clearly I'm a black man. Um, and I just told you the places where I've been in Miami. I was there for like I lived there for 6 years. You know what I'm saying? I literally lived there for 6 years, and like from the time that I was like 21, I most of my adult life was there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm talking from experience, and I'm talking from like firsthand knowledge. Of being these where Richard Hart has been his growing up and shit or whatever the fuck. And I know there is because if you go to school with whoever the fuck in those years, my daughter right now is going to school with Australians. She was born here. She's been here. She grew up here. But even though to me she doesn't sound Australian or whatever, if I brought her back over to America, everybody's gonna know that she's not fucking American. You know what I'm saying? So, like, again, this is my perspective. I'm just giving you my perspective of like all of the scuttlebutt going on around this particular conversation or whatever. I personally, I feel that like, and again, even with Richard Hart using the word nigga, I think there's more white people upset about this shit than black people. To me, that's interesting. Again, I'm not gonna go too much into that, but like I said, I mean, if his boys are his niggas and this is how they rock and shit, I'm assuming like, if he's talking like that in his private life, then he's probably like friends with some black people. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's a safe assumption or whatever. Because again, we might have to look into that. But if his boys is his niggas and shit, and this is how they rock and this is how they relate to each other, and in a moment of like maybe like him putting down his guard or whatever, he's you a true piece of who he is. See, this is the real problem that I have. I feel like people don't want Richard Hart to be fresh and fit, and a little bit on this SOS podcast as well. Whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it's like every time that Richard Hart displays this quote unquote mentality or whatever the fuck, some people have a problem with it because of like the overall look they perceive that it gives to RH products or whatever. And this is kind of the perspective that Big Pep's always come from, and that's dollars and cents. Pep would tell you, he's like, yo, I can't show this fucking clip to none of my people. They're gonna be like, what the fuck and who the fuck and how the fuck. You know what I'm saying? And again, like there's a very valid point in that disposition and why you would have a problem with all of a sudden when you seen this man like battle the best of them intellectually on all kinds of stages and shit like that, and then you see this, it's almost like he's lowering lowering his flow, so to speak, or whatever, in order to maybe engage with an audience that he perceives as like not just that normally is and shit. This is, I mean, again, like nobody is talking, just saying, like, from my perspective a little bit, but mostly what I've heard and seen from the Gentleman of Crypto stream up until now. I think, like there's some issues that are probably gonna end up coming up out of this because um it's easy to be like kumbaya when everything is great, you know what I'm saying, and the prices are going up and whatever and shit. But now, like, we've been waiting on Post Shane and Richard Hart out here stunting and these things that are ghetto fabulous, I guess, you know what I'm saying? And like, I feel like a very valid pep. But I think somebody peanut gallery that tends to accumulate around like big pep streams. Like somebody is saying, like I say, that shit is closet, like like clan shit, basically. Um, and I know that's not what Pep is trying to emanate, resonate like from himself or towards the community. I just want to be very clear about that. But I just thought it was interesting, like to me, um, no community is like homogenous and shit like that, right? Um, and nobody, like can expect for like anybody to be just like them. So I think that's really great. I'm happy for people to be honest about how they feel. That lets me know like the true nature of like you know what I will say that I was a bit startled, but just like kind of like raise eyebrows at some of like these comments about Richard Hart and his ghetto, whatever, all this shit like that. Like to me, I really feel like if was in a private room and shit, you had a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like you'd be like, yo, why is this man like here with the hard ER? You know what I'm saying? And again, I know Pep don't this way. I really know he don't. But I feel like some of these people that are accumulating around at least like this last stream specifically, but I've seen this same sentiments about the same shit in other streams all. I just think that is something that needs to be paid attention to, and just be aware of like who your true allies are. Like I guess this is real life, and we can't be like a happy one unless we were like communists or shit like that, and we were being forced to be one big happy community with one single mind state and mind frame. So I don't have no problem with people kind of like showing their true colors and what I mean, like donning their fucking like neo-Nazi tendencies or whatever the fuck, or like just play it straight up prejudice, whatever the fuck. But it seems like a little bit deeper than Richard Hart is switching code or whatever the fuck with some of the shit that I've seen and read over the past 24 hours. So yo, I just wanted to speak on that. And yo, Black Crypto man, can you please hit me up and send me like your Telegram handle or something where I can send you these beats for sure, because I got them on deck, but I got a folder right here. Um, and I definitely think that yeah, we should link up here pretty soon. I want to get you on and get your crypto origin story as well. That's something that I've been doing since the beginning of this. I like to hear where people got their start and how they came into the game and shit. That shit to me is intriguing. Like all of these people, and again, this is where I think Hex is homogenous, where you have all these people that wherever they come from, like we feel like this fucking Hex shield is like a unifying factor. And maybe it's because of like the dividends and stuff like that, but clearly the community has shown that it's way bigger than money. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, again, I think happy family, maybe sometimes we'll happy times we have like we have since the initial post chain sacrifice, but I think that shit is necessary. And all you people, if you are in fact out there, how Pesci able to speak his mind and speak his position purely, sincerely, and honestly, like throwing darts and having poison, in his lingo or whatever. If you want to just hide behind, so you think it's cool for you to throw darts and go back and hide behind someone that is as eloquent and standing and upstanding as Big Pep, you're the ones that I'm really trying to hear. So you need to be honest with yourself, and maybe you need to check yourself. Maybe Richard Hart is not the problem. You know what I'm saying? Like again, if certain I've already stated are ultimately become the reality, then that's another conversation. But again, y'all motherfuckers out here talking this shit when you can just directly communicate with this man, you know what I'm saying, and speak your piece or whatever. And unless he confirms what you're saying, then you like so easy to call this dude ghetto and his black shit and all this other stuff like that, because again, that's offensive. Just as offensive as it will be if Richard Hart was speaking and acting because he thought this was the level of intelligence into the people that call black. You know what I'm saying? So it goes both ways or whatever the fuck. But until this shit is validated, until you get to the crux of what the fuck is going on, y'all motherfuckers really need to check yourself. And even again, this is not even the first Hex Parks I did, or stream I did, was with Yas Deep. Shout out to Yas Deep. OG Hexican, he's been in this shit like, from the very beginning or close to it. And this was like sometime maybe around the of 2020. The name of that, and you guys can go look it up, it's called The Psychology of. But even should have been titled The Psychology of Richard Hart, because that's really what I want to get to, like the root of and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I talked about the hex code and all the technical stuff like that, but then I spoke about Richard Hart and his psychology then, in the game September. So it's not like, I had this time to even, I would know Richard Hart in 2017, 18, 19, whatever the fuck, right? So if you go back out, not that I'm trying to like promote my shit or whatever, I think it's really relevant to what the fuck this dialogue is right now. You know what I'm saying? And like how people are tripping out about Richard Hart and how he, supposedly code switching or whatever. Maybe he is, and again, if he is, then the community can sort that shit out and, hold him accountable. But again, my issue is people in some of these comments hold deeper meaning and they're not actually honest to the true feelings of the authors of these books. So this is basically like a PSA saying, yo, be who you are, like, and represent your tribe and shit, right? And if Richard is who he is, shit, and this is how he represents, and this is the man that he is and shit. This is the complexity of what he is and shit. But if he's not meaning any harm, you know what I'm saying? Like, and in this, and he's like literally telling you, because he said this with his own words, yo, I speak more like this, like this whole like ghetto fab fucking switching code shit that everybody's trying to say. He's already told on multiple occasions, at least twice, speak more like this than how you people normally see me. He said that, but you guys always talk about how Richard Hart, man of his word, take these words that he said and then use them accordingly. Then maybe we can get to the true facts of the matter. Is he switching code, or this is just who he is normally in the background with his people and the people that he really, whatever the fuck, because that truly could be it in ways, right? What if that is in fact the case, that Hart is just being who the fuck behind closed doors and with his closest and personal people and shit? How are you people gonna deal with that shit then? Yeah, I want to say the guy just slid up into the room, Crypto Nate. Everybody knows Crypto Nate in the community. He's like, as far as I'm concerned, he's OG status as far as within the Hexican community, and just like period. Nate's my OG, yo.
What's
I've
up,
been
Dot?
talking a lot. We're gonna let Nate come in and get his Yo,
I don't know if I got a delay or something going on there. Can you hear me? Yo, Doc.
yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, cause I think I got a
Yeah,
delay.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you? Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Now go ahead, bro. We'll work. How you feeling? Tell me what you thinking. You been listening?
No, I just came to the crib, man, and just wanted to say what up. You know, how you been?
Yeah, just chilling, bro. Like, I actually just randomly, as I do this ICOSA, phenomena, I just came across a clip that somebody must have recorded in the space, and it was basically featuring you. Have you heard that clip yet?
No, no, I sure didn't.
It was ecosystem as far as ICOSA and
Yeah,
Hedron
yeah,
and has mechanism. How you basically talking about like you don't label right now. You remember that?
yeah. The last stream, yeah, I talked about it definitely. That was like what 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
it was
talked
like
about
two
it, me
weeks
and you,
ago.
when we did our stream. But I think this is the spaces that you were in
Mhm.
and shit. But it was brilliant, bro. Like it was really brilliant and shit. But how you feeling about
Oh
ICOSA and
yeah.
everything now that it's launched and all that? Like,
Oh man, I feel great about it. I feel really great about it. I feel that it has definitely great potential for Hex and for any investor because it does follow the immutable code. It follows, that's just your own keys and you generating your own assets. And knowing that, how it reciprocates around, for you to reinvest and reinvest and reinvest, man, it's a triple win, definitely. It's a triple win.
yeah, like from what I've observed and shit, like the community seems to be like there's a like people that seem to be using the interface. People are actually more engaged, seem to be more engaged with these hedrons that they probably would have had just sitting. That they may even yeah, you know what I'm saying? So seems like it just kind of jump started this whole little ICOSA ecosystem type of scenario. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because like I said, really ICOSA itself, when you stake it, you get both ICOSA yield and Hedron yield. And also with their share points that they have, all depends on how much you have, you get more of a bonus of each one. And especially when the Hedron does burn, I mean, it adds up both with the Hedron and the ICOSA yield, and you can actually keep on reinvesting the Hedron into your other Hedron staking to get more ICOSA staking. Man, I mean, dude, it's a triple win, and not only that, you can use that ICOSA yield you get off your ICOSA staking for Hex. I mean, dude, it's a triple win. It's a straight up triple win.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and not only that, yeah, not only
that's a
that,
big
yeah, yeah, but not only that guy, the hedron that you
no, go
get
ahead, go
from your
ahead.
previous hex stakes too. I mean, dude, yeah, this system is miraculous, straight up.
Yeah, and the best part about it again, if you just utilize the state that the hedron that you were able to mint from their launch, and if that's 10x and all that stuff like that, and you're basically playing with house money. All you're doing is basically
Yeah,
creating like a operation based on utilizing these particular protocols.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, dude. Yeah, like why not take advantage of this? like I said that our last stream, like y'all waiting on Pulse Chain and Pulse X. Like you all got it here right now. Just take advantage of what's here right now. Then when Pulse X come out, y'all gonna be sitting like millionaires, just sitting pretty. Take advantage of this shit now. You know.
Yeah, especially because we're at the bottom, of wherever we're going to be moving forward. And as we, each state passes, like whenever that is, we're getting close to launch state. So, yeah, I think, and especially if it doesn't do any real harm or any harm at all to the ecosystem. I know a lot of people have been recent hex dip on people liquidating hex to get into these hedge fund stakes. I don't necessarily see, maybe there's a small percentage of people who would be doing that, but I see you like those would not be people who have been holding hex since print six. You know what I'm saying? Like, and probably be relatively noobs, like past 6 to 9 months, possibly. That's going on. But what do you think about that?
Well, the thing is about the contract also, the Hedron contract, if you want more of, say, for instance, of what the HSI offers, you go full length. You go 5555. And the great thing about what ICOSA do is that wherever stake that you actually make, it equates that with the number of ICOSA your stake is worth. So you can actually sell your HSI if you really want to at any time. Just like, it's almost like Maximus. Where like say for instance, like, okay, I wanna cash out my Maximus right now. Well, you could do the same thing with the HSI. But the greatest thing about the HSI is it's still a stake. So it doesn't get dumped back into hex at all. It stays a stake for 5555 till its longest term. And then it goes into the liquidation mark 90, what's that, 90 days later.
Yeah,
But the
yeah, and
Hedron
also
burned
like,
also.
but even if you were using hex to get into Hedron, that's like the same. It's not like, because when you do the Hedron stake, that hex disappears as well. You no longer have that hex available to the market. So that should not
Hmm.
have affected the hex price negatively at all. If anything, it should have added value to the hex price, which I think that's what we saw before we saw the big turn in the market altogether.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, the only reason why the hex price actually went down was Richard Hart. They said that he flooded. That Pulse X and Pulse Chain wasn't coming out till next year. But if people actually listen to how he said it, that's not what he actually said. They actually asked him a question like, "Hey, what are going to be your favorite coins?" He was like, "Next year is going to be Pulse Chain, Pulse X, and Hex." That's exactly how he said it. And then people was like, "Oh, wait a minute, is Pulse Chain coming out just next year?" And then that's when the damn price started dumping. He got knuckleheads out there, man. They don't listen. I mean, man. They
That's
hold on to his every single
that's
word,
okay. They
dude. I
just they
mean,
just
yeah.
they just help me fill my bag. That's all. Because um, I definitely can say that I've invested a few racks. I grabbed a few racks on these dips and shit. I got a 3.9 and like 4.7, son. I'm killing them. Yeah, motherfuckers
Hey,
keep
there you
on
go.
playing.
Yeah, you're right. The 3.9 was sweet. It really was. The
Keep
the
that.
3.9 was a sweet opportunity.
Yeah, yeah, yo, all day. So, but yo, so I just want to get your thoughts on like basically the topic of the day, which is whether or not switch he into men. Um, did you see the Fresh and Fit Part Two with Richard Hart?
I didn't even watch any Richard Hart interviews as of late. I really haven't. but I heard it was out there. So you know, but I mean, he's getting exposure. You know, that's what he wants. This is what he's getting. You know, this is the difference between him and the image of X. You know, the Richard Hart, the
Yeah,
man, that's
yeah,
coming out there. Yeah,
definitely. Well, yeah, you're
which is a good
gonna have to
thing.
go have especially like yeah. I mean, again, if it's net positive for my back, But I was actually from like kind of effective because I felt even from that I actually went back to the gentleman of crypto uh stream that he did about a year or so ago, and how
Yeah,
that's when this time like the kind of like feedback started like resonating about, oh well, why you trying to act black and like talking ghetto, all of these kind of like derogatory terms and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
yeah,
I'm just trying to get to, I'm like, okay, so there's a couple things going on here. Either this dude is just being himself, and like this is how he is, like when he's amongst his brothers, and how he, this where from and shit. So probably he has people with him where he comes from and shit, like entourage and shit like that. He's from like the hood and shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that could be the case, and if that is the case, and if he's actually said himself that yo, actually more like this, and like this ghetto shit that you tag me with, talk more like this in my normal life than whatever you see me on these streams and shit. He's actually said that, so I'm using that information to kind of disseminate some of the comment through some of the comments that I've been hearing, like especially based on his Miami trip or whatever, because I really feel like that. What happens if like he clarifies, like, look, people, I'm not saying that thinking that black men are less intelligent. It's not that. I'm not trying to like like kowtow to these motherfuckers because I'm like in their arena. This is who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the
hmm
fuck? What happens if he comes out and says that shit? How are certain people going to feel about that? Because like based on some of the comments that I've read and heard, like more people are upset that he's present himself in a way that detestable. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
versus
yeah,
like more he's just like offending black people, trying to talk down to black people or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, the thing is, God, you know, it goes way deeper than him using the word. It really is. Because, first of all, you got a white guy that is using the word. And not just a white guy, you know. It could be any guy. Because, I mean, look where the word actually comes from. The word is not, you know, a term of endearment. Look, I don't even use the damn word, okay? So the thing is like, you know, people around his circle, they use it freely. So he felt comfortable, I guess, using it freely, and they accepted that. Which I'm like, well, you know, that it is what it is. But the truth is, he wouldn't be using it around me because I don't associate myself with people that just use that word freely like that because of the way that word comes from. You know, look, I go back in history. That word is not, like I say, is not a term of endearment at all. It isn't, dude. And not only that, the
So,
way that we,
hey, yo, Nick,
yeah,
hold on one second.
yeah,
Hold on a second. I just want to, because I just want to bring to this particular. I will have to say that I disagree with that. The word nigger is not a term of endearment. I will agree with that. But when you
right,
go and look at the origin of that word, it's from it like nagast. This is
yeah,
the
niggas,
origin
yeah, niggas,
of this word and shit. You know what I'm saying? So so so
right,
so when you look at negus and nagas and shit and the nagas or whatever, you're talking about like like these are titles you only get if you hold like like spiritual and like like bloodline type of
Oh
fucking
yeah.
significance, right?
Oh yeah, God. Look.
Reverence and shit, right? We were the Nagas and shit. We
Yeah.
were the Negus, depending on where you
Yeah.
were on the
Naga
planet and
is
shit, right?
yeah.
So that
Mm-hmm.
that that
Yeah,
to me
but
is the
guess what?
origin and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
But guess what? They're not using that. I mean, they're not using that. Like nigga is not niggas. You get what I'm saying, right? Because I know exactly what you're saying, God. I know
Yeah, but look
exactly what
at
you're
you
saying.
don't think that we went. But check this out though, that we actually went and because again we talk about the nigger with the hard er, right? Like we know, and again I'm saying like whenever I hear these motherfuckers, some of these people talking about like Richard Hart, like code switching and like his ghetto language and all that shit like that. I even
Yeah.
said it earlier before you came on. I feel like y'all, some of you are Hexagon by day and a clan robe underneath your hex logo and shit. Some of you, not
Yeah, of
even a
course.
lot of you, but
Mm-hmm.
a few of you, like it seems very apparent that that's what's going on. But these are the same ones that be talking that nigger with our shit as well. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I feel like, especially like in our generation and shit, we came back and we even not knowing like where that word originated, like could mean like everything. I work with a bunch of Irish cats, right? Working on is like and shit, like so that with them like lad, but how they like with the inference on their tone, what type of lad they're calling you, because they call they put Aussies and shit. Like people always say that Aussies call motherfuckers cunts a lot, right? And like and that's true,
Yeah.
but that cunt can be like a term of endearment, like the inference and the tone and shit like that, or it can like you're a cunt, you're a motherfucker, like this I want to kill him type shit or whatever. This lad shit
Mm-hmm.
like with the Irish cats that or whatever, right? So what I'm saying is
Yeah.
like they took this term negus and nagas and shit, and they turned it into nigger, and they put the energy into it because niggers are fucking slaves and these shit or whatever. And then we run into back and brought it back to like the in the godly realm about nagas and negus, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I
Yeah.
know cats would be like, "What's up, my naga?" "What's up, my negus?" or whatever.
Yeah.
So
That
they
right
try to
there.
bring it
Yeah.
back and
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
at the same time, I know what you. I agree, right? Like I'll just say, I said all that to say, if Richard Hart, like if his boys and shit in his daily life, right? If this is how with each other and shit, okay, that's one thing, that's all good. But like you have to understand, you have to kind of make that shit known. You know what I'm saying? You can't assume that everybody know what your bullshit is, how y'all talk with each other, and maybe in a
Yeah.
moment comfortable, you let that shit slip on a live stream or time into whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like to me, that's completely
But
different than you just all of a sudden and being like, like this nigga, this fuck when nobody's ever heard you fucking talk like that before. So that's what I was saying. Like that
yeah.
shit has merit, but some of his other shit, like with the to like you trying to fucking be more outraged than you know what I'm saying? All this shit like that. I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying, but is that really what you're saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but like that's my whole point too, God. I mean, the thing is about the word nigga. Why would you have to use it around people that you think is ghetto, so it could be acceptable? See, that's bullshit. you get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's what I'm
Now,
saying.
naga,
Yeah,
yeah, of
yeah, for
course,
sure.
that naga right there. I mean, shit, that's God talk right there, man. That's like, hey, my God, my brother, my naga. I mean, look, that
Yeah,
that comes
yeah,
straight from our from us, from what we are. I ain't no nigga. Don't call me no nigga. Hell no. That's just
yeah,
a short ass term for nigger.
yeah,
That's just the way it is.
yeah,
But look, I mean, but look at who he's dealing with in his inner circle at the time too. That's all they're going to say too, which is a damn shame too. Brothers and sisters don't need to express themselves like that. They really don't. Like I said, nigga
and
is a
you know what's
spell
really
word,
interesting,
dude.
yo? me think
Yeah,
about
go
something
ahead.
based on that knowledge, that jewel you just dropped and shit. If he does in fact have like brothers in his circle and shit that they're like nigga, 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 whatever. If those brothers had our knowledge and understanding of the order to him and be like, yo, you can call me my naga, but don't call me my nigga. Richard Hart will be out here saying
Exactly.
my naga, my naga, my naga, my naga. I promise you that shit, because this is how much veered
Yeah.
his fucking people and shit. You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
think people just getting it. I know I grew up and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they grew up in the hoods and shit, or grew up in and around fucking black people lives and shit. You can't tell them that they didn't come from that shit. You motherfuckers don't understand. And so I think there's a lot logically and sociologically. I think there's a lot going on and shit. And like to me, all of this shit is
Look, man.
intriguing, but it's also just a matter of perspective.
Yeah, you're right. It's a matter of
Go ahead, go ahead.
perspective. Look, I checked white boys. I checked plenty of white boys. Like my son, he was staying out in the suburbs, and guess what? They do talk like that amongst each other. But guess what? When they get around me, I'm like, man, don't talk like that around me. Do not talk like that around me. I don't want to hear that shit. Straight up. I get on them, man, because
Like yo,
like
you
I
didn't
say, I
even
am not the.
you didn't even
Yeah.
you haven't earned that shit. Like definitely not. I agree. I definitely sure. You
Mhm.
know, and like I said, I
Shit,
mean,
my
even
sons
with
don't
Richard
even use
Hart,
that word,
I
dude.
mean, I know
Yeah.
that he don't mean no ill will when the time that he said that shit just recently and like a couple podcasts ago and whatever the fuck. But at the same time, like he did misstep if he assumed that everybody would just take that shit with a grain of salt and be like, oh, it's all good, it's Richard Hart, his boys, whatever the fuck. Because again, one thing I feel like white people are more pissed off about that than like most black communities. So I think that's intriguing. But besides,
Yeah.
like, yo, even when I'm hearing him say, I'm sitting here like with a raised eyebrow, like, what the fuck? Like, where
Yeah.
from? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo,
Yeah.
okay, like
Mhm.
that's what it is. But at the same time, like, hold on a second, you gotta fucking come with like a prequel or something. You can't just like, I've been like watching Richard Hart fucking streams and shit since fucking September of 2020, and I probably went back 3 or 4 months prior to that shit, right? So I never ever heard him speak like this before. You know what I'm saying? Like he's from, I know his
Yeah.
background. I know he kind of like gets, when himself kind of gets like into that kind of jive type of shit or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's him. That's what I'm saying. Maybe that's his nature because
Yeah.
I'm a Libra as well, right? Yeah, I have a kind of tied into this, I think. And I always say that Libras, like one thing you can say about Libras, we are chameleons and shit. That can be for our benefit or a detriment. I'm saying like when I say benefit, I mean like I'm all about ascension. You know me. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mhm.
mechanics and shit. Shout out to my man. So like I'm saying, if using my ability to blend or to like like assimilate in certain arenas and shit, is only for me to go higher, not to gain anything on like the five senses level. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not trying to
Right.
fucking
Mhm.
like I'm not trying to please nobody. Like I'm trying to be me. Like it's not even like I have to try and shit, right? But again, I know Libras that also use that same chameleon archetype in disagreeable ways that only stimulate shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like I'm saying if Richard Hart using this chameleon energy and like maybe in that arena he's this way and this is actually like the makeup of his nature, then step off his shit. But also at the same time, he needs to understand that yo, you can't just be out here saying don't think it's not gonna have
Yeah.
repercussions that you may not be able to corral if this just gets out of control.
Yeah. And people need to understand that too. Look, this man's trying to bring out a certain image. That's another thing too. Why would you want to, associate yourself being expressive like that? You don't have to be expressive like that, man. And you're trying to be the revered man. You know, like I said, like I tell my sons. A nigga is not a man. You know, there is absolutely no way a nigga could be a man. Just think about it. And then when you do think about it, because it
Yeah.
doesn't come to from that, it doesn't come from that nagga and niggas. No, nigga comes from that nigger shit. Because if nigga was so positive, then how
Yeah.
come
So
say,
that's
well,
like
I'm gonna
the
shoot that
polar
nigga,
opposite.
fuck that nigga? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a total opposite. It's ignorance. It's straight up ignorance. It's actually nothingness really. You know, nigga cannot be a man,
Yeah.
not whatsoever, dude.
True. Yeah. Yeah, yo. I mean, look, man. Like that's why you the OG, son. Like for real. Like how you down. Nobody can ever argue anything. And again, because you have like polarity, which is equal yet opposite and shit. So -5 is the same as no fucking difference, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you got nagas on one end, you got niggas or niggers on the other end. They have
Mhm.
equal yet opposite frequencies, polarities, completely different stream of thought, consciousness, all of that shit. So again, we talking about the nagas and the ghost, okay, and where that lineage has come from, and that's a part of us. It's literally in our live DNA. We ain't talking no spook shit right now. We're talking about who we are. So then, as the God is saying, like he don't want to hear no shit about no nigga from nobody. Period. You know what I'm saying? And like that actually clarify when you clarify that shit and crystallize it to its least common denominator. That's what it boils down to. Are you living nigga life or are you living that nog life? Period. I don't give a fuck who you are, white, black, blue, brown, or whatever the fuck. I'm saying that's what it really comes
Exactly.
down to. But we can have this conversation with levity and depth and dimensions and range and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we can get to the understanding without fucking throwing stones at the man himself and shit. I think that's
Mhm.
very different
But
than mostly everything that I've been hearing like in these social media spaces in the past like 24, 36 hours.
yeah. But you know the thing is, what kind of upsets me the most is people giving them an excuse, a pass and shit. Like, no, man, there was a brother. There's a brother on
Yeah.
Twitter. He was like, man, did I hear him say this? He was like, you're damn right, it's effed up, right? That's what I said. Then all of a sudden, you got motherfuckers trying to, bring stats out, like, oh yeah, Generation X say this and traditional X say that. I'm like, man, fuck them
Nah,
damn stats.
nah.
Hey,
Yes.
that shit's
Yeah,
wrong, damn
I've
it.
already now I put this on record before you came in, because I'm fair, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing about a Libra. If you're true to your nature, you're gonna be fair and fucking balanced. And I said, like me, I have a personal like take on this shit because I've spent my whole entire adult life prior to fucking moving over to Australia and fucking Florida. And on top of that, the last 6 years prior to fucking moving over to Australia, I lived in Miami, bro. Not just in Miami, but
Mhm.
like I said fucking Hollywood, which is in fucking Broward County. You know what I'm saying? North Miami Beach, Mid Beach, South Beach, fucking the West Opelika, Carol City. These are places that I fucking live. Little Haiti. You know what I'm saying? These are like my homes, my backyards and shit. So I know Miami's like beyond some shit that you're gonna see on TV. And what I said, and it's absolutely true, all these different neighborhoods and all these different fucking postcodes and avenues and street coordinates and nobody speak Richard Harks. Never, ever, ever.
Mhm.
None of my boys, not the barber, not like the lady that twists my fucking locks, not the like the Rasta that I get my weed from. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody is talking like how Richard Hart is talking. But that doesn't mean anything. But I'm
Mhm.
just saying, all you people that's trying to give excuses, talking about, yo, this is where he's come from and blah blah that shit out. That's not what it is. And again, I'm probably being more fair than a
Exactly.
lot of you motherfuckers about this shit. Because I'm still willing to say and understand that he did come from that. Maybe this is how he projects that, in his head and shit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe this is how it comes out. And this is again, maybe this
Mhm.
is his nature when he's in this zone. And if that is the case, then like I said to all these other people who seem to have a deeper issue with that, what if that's the case then? What if that is actually a boy? You can see how,
Mhm.
like, okay, so people are saying like, that doesn't sell. I can't, I'm not, again, I'm not like disrespecting Big Pep. I'm just using him as a reference. I've heard other people say this as well, but like Pep will tell you, I can't show this to my people. You know what I'm saying? And I can agree when you're specifically talking about part two of the live stream with the two dudes in Miami and shit, fresh and fit. Part two is not it's not people. You know what I'm saying? It's sitting there, in between Richard Hart and these two hosts and shit, and they're talking all of these very trivial fucking male female topics and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Got a bit raunchy, this that whatever. That particular clip in isolation, no. I mean, I was trying to sell somebody that was like buttoned up and shit. Like, them that shit. I will show them the gentleman of crypto. I will
Mhm.
show them that fucking clip. Basically, having to see when he's thinking shit. It's just not talking about like fucking and this and that and threesomes and all this stupid shit like that or whatever. He's talking about crypto and all these things surrounding crypto and shit like that. I would show some that shit. You know what I'm saying? But I think people are. It seems like some people are saying, none of my people is black shit, and that's really the problem that I have with shit. It's like I feel like motherfuckers like, so show none of my people is black shit. He's acting too black for me, and whatever the fuck he need up to mine, like I kill everybody, Richard Hart type shit or whatever. So again, that may be like my own perception. If you go back and especially listen to um I think on Tuesday something about whiskey, something or another in the title. And just go back and listen to and read some of the comments that people were saying. And it clearly seems to me that this is beyond, whether or not this dude is like, being ghetto or acting black and shit. I think people have a problem with him being that way, even if he's actually that way and shit. They're saying, yo, this is not what sells. You know what I'm saying?
No,
And
it
again,
won't.
like if you take
No, it
away the
won't.
word
No, that
like
especially the
nigga,
embassy. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, certain people, like I can't think of even people who are not really. I can't think of a lot of their first like taste of Richard Hart in part two of that interview with those dudes, and be like kicking down the get into Richard Hart projects and shit. I will say that, but I think
Yeah, you're right.
that you know what I'm saying. So like, and it's I'm like, okay, yeah, I get what motherfuckers are saying as far as like the topic of conversation. But how Richard was being and shit, if he was actually being more himself than not himself, then I don't have no problem with that. That's
But
my take.
truth is, though, remember we were talking. What's the most important thing right now? He needs to separate himself from his projects. That's and for him to
Mm.
do that, you know, I mean, for him to do, say the things that he's doing, and what you just said right there, like, hey, I got a lot of brothers and sisters that want to get into this. Then all of a sudden they look at the shit that he's saying. Then they're like, they don't know nothing about the history, but they see the perception right there, the perception. Like, who the hell this motherfucker think he is talking like that? You know, eyes roll, eyes get big. They're like, oh no, it's some racist shit right here. X. That's it.
Yeah, no, I'm
You
saying it's a
know,
tough spot.
I,
It's a very tough spot for him. That's
yeah,
what I'm saying. Like he really needs to kind of clarify this shit because, and again, if it is this chameleon thing where he's just like falling in different roles, so to speak, or whatever, and that's an introspective thing as well because you definitely lose a lot of black audience if like I mean if you always like that and people think it's sincere. It's like your boy Paul Wall, right?
yeah.
Again, if you ain't into hip hop in the '90s, you probably didn't know who Paul Wall is. But Paul Wall is a rapper, right? He's from Texas. He's that example of a white boy that grew up around black people and shit. He was just as poor as these motherfuckers were. You know what I'm saying? They shared the same shit. Whatever. But Paul Wall's peers and shit because he never ever stepped out of line and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he know from when he came and shit. And he wasn't trying to be inauthentic about that shit. You know what I'm saying? He was just giving you his story based on how he shit. You know what I'm saying? But he's always like that. It's not like you see Paul Wall and he don't got fucking like diamond grills and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like every time you see this motherfucker, if you know who Paul Wall is, he's gonna be representing where he comes from. And like I say, it's very valid if people have a problem with Richard, if they're saying, okay, well, how the fuck are you like this over here? When it comes to all these motherfuckers and shit. As soon as you're over here, you just completely go fucking ham and shit. And all this other like shit come out. You know what I'm saying? Like, regardless of what you feel about that shit, one thing is consistent. That shit is cringe fucking worthy.
Yeah, it is. You're
Like
right.
in normal things, whatever the fuck, yo, that shit is cringe worthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't give a fuck what nobody say. So like, I don't want people to get it twisted like I'm one side or the other. I'm just like stating like all the positions and shit and like what is actually like the fallout from them shit. But like Nate just said, yo, if you got like a house full of fucking brothers and shit and you showed them like a piece of this clip and we just hold on a second. We're just gonna we're gonna show a portion of this in case you have new to Nate and shit. This is like a reaction video. It's turned into, so we're just gonna hit and here we go. Let's check it.
Going. Okay. And just be and let like okay. I expect for him because I want to fuck. No, that nigga funny. Yeah, I'm into that choice. Feel me, and that's what I look for first.
Yo, God. Shit. It's gotta be my connection. Yo, Dot.
So you get the idea. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, again, yo, like I don't really, I don't really have a problem, like again, if that's who he is, that's who he is and shit. But I can clearly understand why people would be taken aback when like this dude sounds like he's like what's your boy's name? Like Steve Martin or some shit from like an 80s comedy or some shit, Soul
What,
Man
the
or something.
jerk?
You know what I'm saying? Like the
Yeah,
jerk.
the jerk. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, man,
So
the thing is, bro, people gotta respect themselves also. That's the thing too. I mean, the people in his circle, like I say, they use it. They basically, like I say, they use it as a term of endearment. So guess what? He adapted himself to that. So it's okay because guess what? I grew up here. I grew around you. I'm rich and famous now. So the thing is, you ain't got no one there checking them. No one's checking them. So guess what? Now it's accepted because you're one of us now. Some shit. But as far as the stupidity and ignorance of it, it really is even on the brothers and sisters part for even accepting that. But it is what it is now, God. I'll tell you that now. People don't understand the difference between a naga and a nigga. Which one are you? They just don't know.
yeah, yo, and I think we'll leave that as a seed that you just planted right there, and let everybody marinate on that because that's what it really boils down to. And again, like we can get deeper into this as well because I mean, I definitely I have thoughts, when I hear certain things, like I don't know, like that's another conversation. But even like this whole the premise of that live stream, that podcast was like women and men and the differences and what women want versus what men want, men and women equal and all of this stuff like that. To me, that's trivial. Like it really is.
Hmm.
And if you're asking a question, like that's probably not something you should be doing a live stream about. That's some shit that you should be like shutting the fuck up about until you actually know the answer to that shit. Like that's just me personally for one.
Hmm.
But for two, just like one thing I will say, cut more deeper. Like, well, I won't say more deeper, but to me, one thing I will say that I think is a bit of a, a contradiction with regards to Richard Hart is that on one hand, like he wants to fucking save people. He wants people to live longer, healthy lives and all the stuff like that, whatever the fuck. Um, but then on the other hand, it's okay, well, I want to have these type of, entanglements that, basically is all based on like materiality and what I can do for you. And like if you fit into the space that, I want you to fit into, you know what I'm saying? Like I know there are a lot of people that live their lives in all kinds of ways and shit like that or whatever. And that's all fine and shit, like I'm not even judging that because like motherfuckers can do whatever they want. But I'm just saying there's a clearly, like for me personally, I'm about like I don't want to necessarily life. I don't want. I'm not really interested in life extension technology per se, or interested in life ascension. You know what I'm saying? In life ascension, like technologies and shit like
Hmm.
that. I'm trying to go up, not forward. You know what I'm saying? Like out. Like I'm trying to like get like to the frequencies that allow me like to forever without like technology this that or whatever. So to me that's like a different thing altogether, a separate conversation. But with regards to like how I see women like versus men and like if how like, the whole balance of like you know this material world and shit, especially as it revolves on women, I think that is not progressive to try to even speak about like subjecting like women to like some things that this like of like folly, basically. Okay, you got either got this or I'm not gonna fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
you're gonna be happy with me fucking having menage a trois and this and that or whatever the fuck, or you're not gonna be in my life, whatever. I think okay, that's cool, but why do we want women to live longer so they can deal with that type of bullshit? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's my whole point. Like, why the fuck are we going to get women to live longer when there's men like you out here doing this type of dumb shit? Like straight up. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really my perspective. But again, I might be in the minority and shit.
No, no, the
But
thinking man is in the minority all the time now. Especially now, man. It's it's a lost art now to think for yourself. It really is. But on top of the nigga thing, you know, there's a I forgot who actually quoted this, but there is a saying that you cannot be free and ignorant at the same time. You just can't. And really,
100%. And
when you think about it, yeah, yeah, go ahead, God.
and I would say if you don't think that men and women like are not equal just because men are more physically adept than on average than women, then you don't understand the laws of nature. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason why that is even relevant is because we live in this material world based on superficiality, like what you can show and what you can bring outwardly and shit like that. But you know, like me and wifey, you know, we have these conversations, you know, over the years and shit. I'm like, it's not like we're equal. Like I expect for you to go chop and shit like that or whatever, and vice versa. But like, if you are equally, how can I say? Like if you're on the as like you're polar opposite and shit, like you know, you're one, then you're gonna understand that there's aspects of her that you cannot replicate, that you absolutely need. You know what I'm saying? In order to be
Mhm.
whole fucking way around that shit. Period. There's no way around that shit. And then the same thing she should understand, and she will understand the same thing about like you know me, because I can cook, I can clean, I can do everything that my wife can do and shit. It's just that she does it fucking better. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the nurture aspect of that shit, because that's what she's fucking built for. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
but there's also things that I can't. I see like things that my wife does that like women do that I absolutely cannot do, like absolutely 100%. So in that aspect, I'm saying that you know, nobody's gonna be what you can give when you're dealing with the material world. But when you look at the thing in its totality, it's always going to be something, and it should be. I don't want no woman that's fucking dumber than me, that I feel like is less than me, you know. But that's a whole other conversation as well and shit. But like, if you truly with your equal, then your lifestyle will represent that shit, and it's not going to be like, oh, I'm better than you because I'm making all the money, or you know, like all this other dumb shit.
Exactly, God. I mean, like, hey, my wife wanted to make open up a business. I would say, go for it. Shit, go ahead, babe. You know, I'll do what I can. With what I'm supposed to do, and you just keep on doing what you want to do. And guess what? She's successful. You know, we're successful together. But
And
the thing is, she wanted to do that. So go ahead, baby.
why as
If
men, why as main topics? But this is
no,
one of
go
the
ahead,
main
bro.
topics
Yeah.
on the show. Is like so they're like, you know, I'm a man shit. I want to be able to go out and go bring girls home and mess around and do all of this stuff because that's who I am. But I don't expect for you to do the same. And the reason why I expect you to do that, for one, because I'm a man and because I make all the money. Like I'm the one holding it down and shit. You know, so this is the level of conversation. And these dudes, like, I don't know, like, they got a pretty big audience and shit like that. And this is literally the level of intelligence and intellect that these motherfuckers are dealing with on a daily basis. This is what they're talking. You know what
But
I'm
guess
saying? I'm
what? The
like,
woman,
whoa.
but it takes a real woman to actually, identify herself as, hey, I'm not like that. For real. That's basically where it all stems down to. to, man. Like, okay, how far do you want to go with this shit? Because you hear what they want. Are you going to give them what they want, or is it what you need from them? So if they're not giving you what you want, you know you're not going to get what you need. So I suggest you look somewhere else. But there's women and some men are like, hey, you know what? Just go for the lower ladder and just follow along. And unfortunately, women do put themselves in that mindset like, oh, I can't get another man. I'm just gonna go with this one. And he's got all this damn money, and I don't need to do anything, which is unfortunate because look, there's some very very smart women out here, but 9 times out of 10, dude, they just follow. They just follow along.
Yeah, but
Just a tragedy.
if you look at numbers on those type of relations, they don't last. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, like, if everybody's honest about intentions, then I think that's equality right there. You know what I'm saying? But for a man to expect for a woman to deal with some shit that she wouldn't normally deal with just because the man has more money, that shit is like the most unnatural, ununifying fucking concept that I've heard like lately, for sure. And it's materialistic as fuck, and it's superficial, and it's weak as hell. You know, like it's super weak.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call it, but again, that's just me. But yo, God, I
No,
won't hold you,
they
man.
ain't just you, bro.
Yo, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, they ain't just you, bro. I feel the same way.
No, go ahead,
I feel
finish
the
up, man.
same way, man. Oh no, they ain't just you, bro. I feel the same way. That's weak sauce there, definitely. Straight up.
Yeah, that different breed, like we're an anomaly inside the system and shit in a lot of ways. But again, like if everybody don't know, crypto Nate is the man. I call him the minister of information. Like for real, for real. This is the OG. Like Nate is everywhere. Like if you're in the community, you're gonna hear from this dude. Me, not so much. I'm a little bit more hermetic with my movements and shit. But like I'm always like paying attention, even if you don't see me. But I appreciate you coming on anyway, bro, and like breaking bread and shit. I know you was in transit and shit like that or whatever. So all respect
Oh
for
yeah, he
that.
was.
But
Mhm.
yeah, any words of wisdom or motivation you want to leave the family with before we bust out of here?
Well, the only thing that I gotta say, man, is just keep your mind free out there, man. Stay away from the bullshit. And if you're in Hex, get in the headroom and that Icosa. Feed into it. Feed back right into Hex. It's a triangle, man, for your assets. Take advantage of it. That's all I gotta say about that.
Now, don't leave money on the table, yo. I'm saying, like, don't leave money on the table. I'm with that all day. If it's you to grab and get into this shit, which a lot of Hexicans, you can interface with all of this for nothing. All you gotta do is pay a little gas fees to get your heads running and you off to the races. So I'm definitely
Mm-hmm.
with that. Also, like again, like I just want to say that the community is growing. There's a lot of new people, there's a lot of old people, like in between and shit. But I really, really think that we have to be honest when we having dialogue on wax and shit about other people. We got to be honest about our feelings and what our own intent when we saying some of the things that I've heard, like involving this Richard Hart shit. Now, I'm just saying, me and the God just broke bread, and like nobody can ever accuse us of not being honest and not putting it out there. We love Richard Hart, yo, like 100%. We
Mm-hmm.
love what he represents, like how he represent his shit. But nobody's infallible, and all you motherfuckers just caping up just because like Richard Hart is your fearless leader. Cut that shit out. At the same time, all you motherfuckers hiding behind like real OGs and true honest Pep, throwing stones behind Big Pep and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because you really got a more sinister intent. Maybe you cut that shit out as well. Speak your mind. Say what you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So my point
I
is,
know they
again,
ain't fucking with Big Pep, man.
no,
Oh man, they fucking with Big Pep.
so, nah,
they
well,
fucking
see
with
what's
Big Pep,
happening.
man. What?
Nah, see what happens is like, cause Big Pep, yo, he's a straight shooter, yo. Like I love like to hear from him and shit. Saying. So
Mm-hmm.
he basically some of the same conversations we've been having over the past month, like regarding like how we were led to go like at the end of May and everything that led up into that, and it hard basically maybe have misstepped in some of his dealings with that situation. We talked about that. So Pat talks about that shit as well. He's talked about it, and he don't
Mm-hmm.
pull his punches. Just like you don't, when. So what I've noticed is, people will say certain, they speak a coded language and shit. Or again, like this, talking ghetto, like they make it sound like they just got a problem with him, like talk ghetto, like he's disrespecting black people or he's doing something that he doesn't normally do. When some of these people, it seems clear to me that it's more of an issue is like, yo, you being too black, bro. You know what I'm saying? You can't be doing that shit. You fucking up my money. Basically, doesn't
Mm-hmm.
fit with my image of like, the Richard Hart that I revere type shit. I think there's a little bit of that going on as well. And again, that's
Oh
something
yeah.
ultimately that Richard Hart is going to have to work out himself, like, who he really is, like, how he wants to represent. And maybe this is it. But again, like there's bombs and shit. For one, if this is who you are and that you can be who you are privately, but when you're just presenting yourself publicly and you're embodying the element of a whole people, you got to be very careful with that shit. Because again, if I'm outside of Hudson, I'm just being honest. If somebody just showed me this motherfucker clip that I just showed you a second ago with him on Fresh and Fit Part 2, I'd be looking all kinds of fucking cross-eyed and raised eyebrow at this, like, who the fuck is this white boy? What the fuck is he supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying
Yep.
that's real. And that's how most people are going to look at him. It just it seems fake as fuck. So I can get why people are saying that, who truly feel like, yo, like this dude is like this chameleon and what the fuck is, and how the fuck can he go from this to that type shit. You know what I'm saying? So that is
Mm-hmm.
conversation that's relevant, but we just need to keep it there. You know what I'm saying? And if you got more deeper things, then just say them. You know what I'm saying? If you think this
Exactly.
motherfucker's act too black, you know what I'm saying, and that's fucking up your brand, then you need to say that shit. Line behind like other motherfuckers' words and shit. So that's what I'm a Big Pep. If you go back and watch that stream where it's something, it's like whiskey in the title, you will see a lot of what I'm saying and shit. Not from Big Pep at all. He's like shooting it straight. And he's never, he's just saying, yo, like, what are you? Like he's actually asking the questions that we asking, like, dude, like, is this who you are? You know what I'm saying? I can get this is where you came from and shit like that, whatever the fuck, but like, are you doing this because you feel like you need to fit in, or this is who you really are? And I think that's a very valid question. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And plus, I would think that it will hit Big Pep, home because remember he had a sister for a while, and she passed away. I guess she was ill. So I mean, dude,
Yep.
yeah, yeah,
And
I think
he's
he's
from
right.
fucking Florida, bro. Like he's from Florida. He's growing up in fucking Florida, bro. Like again, like definitely, even more so than he normally would. He's got fucking relevance to speak his fucking mind, bro. Like he knows. Like again, I'm not from Florida, but like I said, my adult life, I've been all up and down through Florida. Last 6 years of my adult life before moving to Australia, I lived in Miami, the place that's like all the controversies around and shit. And I've been in all of these hoods. I've been in all these postcodes, and I haven't seen that. I haven't seen no people don't talk like that. They don't act like how Richard Hart is displaying himself. That I can say 100%. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, he's not the one giving excuses, like or whatever the fuck. It's like everybody else, like in the peanut gallery, just saying this, that, or whatever. The only thing that Richard Hart has said is that, yo, I'll talk more like this than I do what you people normally hear me. That's the only thing I've ever heard him say. And if that is in fact the case, then It's a different conversation that need to
Yeah.
be had. There's layers to this shit.
Yeah. So.
But I
But
think
don't
is
expect
like
to. Yeah.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh no. Yeah, yeah, but don't expect, like I said, it's all fair, love, and war at this point. If you're gonna be like that, guess what? What you're gonna attract? You're not gonna attract the Robert Kiyosaki's or anything into this. That or get the fit that you really want. Or the respect that you really want. Like, say, for instance, the Nobel Prize and stuff. Like, I don't know if a nigga that ever won a Nobel Prize. So,
And
you
especially,
get what?
you know what I'm saying? I mean, especially with intelligent black men. You know what I'm saying? Like, who the fuck? Like, yo, like, so a lot of your audience that maybe you thought once revered you're isolating on all sides. You being kind of chameleon in your like movements when you deal with shit or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can understand why people get shaky about their money and shit, because I know, like, me and my homeboys are talking about it over here in the background for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is not escaping that. In order for Hex to get to this next level and plateau, we need like fucking institutional level fucking investments and shit. This shit is beyond like your retail investor and whatever. You know what I'm saying? And we already know just on the numbers that everybody's more interested in post-sex and post than they are in Hex anyway, like as far as what's going on right now, except for the OGs and shit. So I'm just saying, like, I mean, when you break it down to dollars and cents, there is a conversation to be had about how motherfuckers is acting and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, I don't see Kiyosaki from like, breaking down the door if he would have watched this clip of Richard Hart. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Me too. He needs PR real bad. He needs PR real bad. Straight up.
He might block that motherfucker.
Well, I mean, it's not like he can't come back from something like this, if it's that controversial, because the truth is, only like a small inner circle, percentage-wise, actually know about this. But I mean, look, it's on YouTube. I mean, shit, motherfuckers go search like, hey, man, look at you saying this shit. It can happen. It can happen, and you fall flat on your face defending yourself.
Exhaust a lot of energy doing that shit, and that's the last thing we need right now. All these Bitcoin maxis are hate watching, like clipping this shit up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, dude, they cutting and pasting like a motherfucker. They got post-its and every damn thing on their foreheads, dude. They're like, oh, remember when you said this? Oh, man. Well, it is what it is at this point, man.
He can be like Joe. He's gonna be like Joe Rogan and shit, apologizing for saying Nick. Like, it's time on shit 10 years later.
But I think the only thing that saves them, like I say, oh, you about to go? You about to go, guys?
No, go ahead.
Yeah,
you had to go. I'm good.
Well, no, I think I was about to say one last thing. The only thing that actually saved him, probably with this interview, even though we know it's BS, what the way he said it. I mean, like I said, the people around him. I mean, the people around him, like, oh man, they didn't say nothing bad about it. See, that's the problem.
Yeah, he had co-signers and shit. The problem is nobody don't know any of RH's co-signers. Those are his boys, and nobody's ever seen or heard from. So, yeah, it could get messy. Like, I'm just saying. Probably want to like calling motherfuckers my niggas and shit, and nigga. I will say that. Like, I mean, you can do that shit behind closed doors, but don't bring that shit to the public, bro. If you haven't been doing that shit from day one, you know what I'm saying? You can't start that shit in me. Like, that shit is awkward and odd, to say the least.
Exactly, brother. Exactly.
Yeah, bro. But we'll go ahead and wrap it up, man. I appreciate you following through shit. We'll keep this moving. for definite.
All right, my nagger.
You have to keep us updated. Yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
My niggas, my
That's right,
niggas.
baby.
You know what I'm
That's how
saying?
you
There's a
say that
difference, yo.
shit.
Do the
That's
math.
how you say that shit, man.
Yeah,
Tell you.
yo, you
That's real.
exactly. And that's from the soul, yo, and that's a completely different resonance than that nigga shit. So we
And it
school
feels
we
good when you
hopefully,
say
you know,
it.
we spoke some sense to some motherfuckers today. You know, we schooled ourselves as well as the audience, you know, for sure. So again, like keep getting them checks with the text, yo. Like don't forget about the ultimate and shit. And yo, buy them dicks. That's all I'm gonna say because I know I am.
I'll clap to that, bro. Yeah, these knuckleheads out here, fuck them.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
All right, neighbor, yo. Well, I'm back in, bro. We'll keep this shit moving, fam.
all right, God. Love you much. Later.
I respect.